All right. Well, good afternoon, Rotary District 7770, and welcome to Conversations with Rotary Action People for Wednesday, December 9th. My name is Donald Hovis, your CWRAP host, and I'm from the Chicora Rotary Club in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We're pleased to be joined today by the Dean of the College of Arts from the College of Charleston in Charleston, South Carolina, and former Rotarian Valeria Morris. Valerie, look forward to your presentation in just a few moments. But up first, some announcements. So today is December 9th, but today is also Christmas card day. So if you haven't mailed your Christmas cards, get them in the mail today. It's Christmas card day. So when you introduce yourself in the chat box now, put your name and your Rotary Club, and I want you to know, have you mailed your Christmas cards, haven't mailed your Christmas cards, or you don't do Christmas cards? How about put that with your name and your Rotary Club in the chat box. Introducing your CWRAP team. She schedules all of these wonderful speakers. She does a tremendous job from the 5 Points Rotary Club in Columbia. She is our public image chair for District 7770. The wonderful Mary Gass. Mary, thanks for what you do. It's good to see you. Maybe our mascot will make an appearance. I've seen him the last couple times, so I know he will make a cameo appearance today. All right. So, Valerie, thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, we talked a little bit prior to this starting and going live, but I believe you said you've been in Charleston there for 22 years in your current role.
That's correct. I've been the Dean of the School of the Arts, the college, for 22 years.
And you were a former Rotarian in which club?
The downtown Charleston, the historic downtown Charleston Rotary that actually meets on Tuesdays at a lunchtime Rotary.
Excellent. So how are things in Charleston currently right now?
Well, as you would imagine, everything is quarantined. It's very strange. I mean, I'm getting very used to sitting at home with my husband and not going out anywhere. Tourism is alive in downtown Charleston, but that's of some concern because people downtown don't always wear the masks as they're walking around downtown because they're on vacation, and I guess they think that that the virus didn't follow them. So it's a little scary downtown.
So how has the pandemic affected community arts organizations?
Well, it's been devastating for the arts in every community in the country. It's really been devastating because for the most part, almost all the arts programs are either shut down completely. The symphonies and the theaters and even the museums. And if they do reopen, they reopen at like a third of capacity. So like the Gilliard Auditorium in Charleston has reopened, but a 1,200 seat auditorium, and they can have 300 people there. Well, when you think of the economics of the arts, already before the epidemic, they were suffering. I mean, there's always a financial crisis with arts programs. They barely make ends meet. And if you can imagine now being either not being available at all or being at 1/3 capacity, this has been devastating. And the jobs for, and I'm talking only about really the live arts, the jobs are on hold. Lots of people, have been laid off. So it's not a very good picture. And it's how it's affected the community. Well, I kind of said sarcastically that my husband and I are spending most of our time at home watching TV. And for people who are interested in the arts, that's kind of a devastating way to spend your life when you're used to going to events. There are no events. And for those of you who participated in events as an active performer or artist, it's very, very difficult. I think people see the value of the arts in the community even more than they did before because there aren't any right now. it's a very difficult time.
So what is the role of arts education and education in general in determining arts participation?
Well, there are some very interesting studies that have been done. First of all, and this is important for the role of the arts in the community, studies show that the more education you have, not tied to race or sex or anything, it's education. The more education you have, the more likely you are to be interested in the arts, either as a participant or as an attendee. Which means that in a community, the leaders of the community are the people usually with the highest education, therefore often the people most involved with the arts, and they decide where they want to live based on arts in that community. And so in that sense, it's very important. From the other end, what is the importance of education to arts attendance? Studies also show that the more you're exposed to the arts in school as a kid, the more you will be an attendee as you grow older, which is very interesting because the studies show that even, I don't know if any of you who are in this presentation or hearing it will remember this, but even if a kid had a remembrance of being dragged to arts events, museums, theater productions, performances as a kid, they're more likely to become an arts attender than those people who have no memory at all of ever going to anything that was artistic. So the importance of arts education, first of all, those of us in the arts, I'm pretty sure that it enhances your life. It makes school a much better experience for kids. We have studies that prove that. There's a Gallup poll that recently came out that polled kids in school. And they found out that kids who have arts programs in their school are happier to go to school, they're doing better in school and all of that. But on the other end, they're more likely arts as a part of their lives. So that's, those are key findings. And I suspect that most of you on this call are involved with the arts, and that partly it may be because of education or exposure to arts education in your K through 12 education.
So how about explain the role of the arts in creative communities as defined by Richard Florida?
Okay, I don't know how many of you have read the works of Richard Florida. His work is kind of controversial. I'll say that at the beginning, because he has a theory that that the most vibrant communities in particularly the United States is where he's talking about, are what he calls creative communities. And these are communities that are not all, he's not really talking totally about the arts. He's talking about why you want to move to a community. And he's come up with this concept of creative communities, that anyone who's creative or entrepreneurial wants to be in one of these communities. So that's, you know, engineers and doctors and computer scientists and teachers and the whole realm of people. He's written 4 books. The first one came out in 2002, so it's getting old now. It was called The Rise of the Creative Class. His second one in 2004 was called Cities and the Creative Class. In 2007, he wrote a book called The Flight of the Creative Class. And most recently, The New Urban Crisis, which he wrote in 2017. His theory, in a nutshell, is that cities which attract and retain creative residents prosper, while those that do not stagnate. Now, where the arts come out in this is that, according to his theory, and of course, those of us in the arts really believe in Richard Florida's theories because it's good for us. But he says in order to attract creative residents in all disciplines, there must be a vibrant arts community. That's one of the things that people ask when they're looking at, should they move to a community? What are the arts like in that community? Is there a symphony? Is there a theater? Is there an opera company? Are there ways for me to participate personally in the arts? Is there a museum? Those are the questions they ask. They're looking for cultural, social, and technological climates in which they feel they can best be themselves. He also has in his theory that they're also looking for a certain element of bohemians in the community that make it so that the community is not rigid in structure and they feel like they can be creative. So that people who are creative and entrepreneurial tend to want to migrate to cities that actively support their preferred lifestyle. And that's the Richard Florida definition of the creative class. And I think, well, Charleston definitely is one of those places. And when you think of, he mentions Austin, particularly Austin, Texas. He mentions a whole range of other cities, but you can almost think about cities as you know them and know which ones he would have identified as creative cities. Even places like Philadelphia and Washington, D.C., New York City, those places. So that's the theory of the creative class and creative community.
Maybe this is not a question that I was going to plan to ask you, but I think it kind of fits hand in hand. So obviously the Dean of the College of Arts is your position with the college. So what part of the arts what part of the arts is your favorite part of the arts?
Anyone who knows me will know that I go to a lot of things. I go to everything. And before the pandemic, my husband and we would go to 3 or 4 events a week. My background is theater. I was a theater major as an undergraduate in college. So I really like theater. Music, classical music, I'm really into. But my field, very interestingly, I think is arts management. So I've kind of specialized in the administration of arts organizations. We have at the college, we have a very active arts management program on the undergraduate level. And we also have what we call music business, which, while the events are not my personal favorite, they are the students' personal favorite. Music business teaches students how to manage rock venues and recording studios and contemporary music groups. So that's very, very busy here. And we have a recording studio here on the campus where these kids can make CDs and get noted. We have a young woman here and her brother who recorded several years ago a song closer to a folk song, I think, than a rock song, and it got something like 6 million likes on what is Spotify or whatever it is. Anyway, these people who were sitting in their kitchen are really well known all around the world because of the song that they did. That is something that I must confess I don't really understand in terms of how that happens, but it happens quite a bit on Instagram and Twitter and all those things, that people become instantly famous. And some of our students, that's what they want to be, instantly famous. But I'm much more into the live performing arts, where you go to a concert and you sit down, or you go and you see a play and it might be challenging and you then have a discussion with your friends, which I guess is what I really miss now that I'm on Zoom. Now that we're on Zoom, I have to confess to you, I really dislike Zoom. It's not at all a real experience. And so, and I'm doing it, instead of going to arts 3 or 4 times a week, I'm on Zoom 3 or 4 times a day. So I was just asked if any of our people become famous. I wouldn't say that they're stars like you would recognize. A lot of them are doing very well, winning lots of awards. There's an artist, his name is Brian Rutenberg. He's doing very, very well as an artist in New York. Um, there's a production that's on tomorrow night. I think it's of The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. And that was written by Mel Marvin, who actually graduated from the College of Charleston. We have several students who are doing very well as performers. Not maybe names you would recognize, but people who you would recognize maybe if you saw them. They're on TV, various other places. So lots of our students, because of one thing I get asked all the time is where do they work? Are they making a living? And you would be amazed how many students are really very, very successful in the arts or in other disciplines, having been arts majors. It's nothing a parent needs to be afraid of.
So what is the economic impact of the arts?
Well, I just happen to have those statistics right at my fingertips. And that, you'll be amazed. The arts and culture in the United States is an $878 billion economic industry supporting 5 million jobs. Maybe the 5 million jobs is why our students aren't having such a lot of trouble getting jobs. And they're on all kinds of disciplines. I also can use an example of my son who majored in music, actually at the College of Charleston, and later went on to get an MBA, and he's working in supply chain management for a shipping line who hired him because of his creativity, because he's able to have ideas and think on his feet. And yeah, it's a big economic impact of the arts. I notice there are a lot of questions here. Should I be addressing these?
I'll ask those of you.
Okay, that's great.
So
it's hard to read them and talk to you at the same time.
you just focus on speaking. I'll focus on asking. How about that?
Okay, sounds great to me.
So I think the first question I saw posted there, will Spoleto happen in 2021?
Spoleto in 2021, they've just sent out an announcement that they're going to be announcing a season as of March. You know, they usually announce their season in December. They'll be announcing it in March, and it will be partly in person, they're hoping, and partly online. Of course, it depends on how this vaccination goes and lots of other things. But it's hard for the arts also. Another issue that we face is that we plan our seasons a year or sometimes even 2 years in advance. So we can't wait till the week before for people to say, now it's safe to go out. Spoleto has to be making contracts and decisions right now, and they really don't know. So they're saying it'll be a mixed bag.
And folks, if you have a question for Valerie, now would be the time. I would like you to post that in the chat box. I only see maybe just a couple more. So one is really not really a question. It says, listening to you makes me miss the arts. The Philharmonic plays at the Newberry Opera House and Theater in Columbia. I'm a fan of the Long Bay Symphony in Myrtle Beach. I don't know if you've seen them or heard them. They're great.
Yes, they're, and it's great when you can go. I like to be in the audience, and I think part of being in the arts is the interaction with other people around you. And what I miss when it's online, well, besides the fact that it isn't really real to me, is you miss being with colleagues that you can talk to during intermission, and maybe meet afterwards and have a cocktail and talk about the performance you just saw. Someone asked about ballet. Do I like ballet? I really enjoy both modern dance and ballet. We have modern dance mainly at the college, but I think, as you know, we do not currently have an active ballet company in Charleston, which is a shame. We do have opera companies now, though. Opera seems to be making a big revival in the United States, and we currently are activating an opera company in Charleston, where there's been none for a number of years. They're actually performing. They perform outdoors and, socially distanced, and you bring a picnic. That we were talking about the cold earlier. I don't know what arts are going to do that are mainly outdoors now, because it's going to be cold, and I don't know that people want to sit on a blanket outdoors now.
You may see the comment posted in the chat about Le Grand, or like Cirque du Soleil. Have you ever been to a cirque show?
I love Cirque du Soleil. From what I'm hearing, they are in tremendous financial difficulty. When they were at their heyday, they were making millions and millions of dollars. But what the shutdown has meant for them is they've had shows all over the world, and they've had to let their performers go. I think, as you know, a job as a trapeze artist is a very limited profession, and you do it while you can. Like, you're good for about 10, 15 years. All those artists are out of work. And I believe Cirque du Soleil is, if it hasn't declared bankruptcy, it's very, very close to bankruptcy because of this virus. I was reading in the paper here that 30% of restaurants will shut down as a result of this. So probably, if they're doing that, at least 30% of arts organizations will probably shut down. Even the ones who say, look how good we're doing, are in real financial difficulty. Now's the time to give to the arts, I think, whatever kind.
Well, yeah. Thank you for joining us this morning and sharing your knowledge about arts in the community. We appreciate it.
It's fun. It's been a lot of fun.
I'll run through some announcements, and if we have another question or two posted in the chat,
I'm not going anywhere, so I'm fine.
Perfect. So, folks, thanks for joining us today on Conversations with Rotary Action People. After today, we only have 4 more left for this year. 4 more episodes of CWRAP for 2020, and then we'll put a bow on CWRAP for 2020 and look forward to 2021. On Friday, we're going to be a little ahead of lunchtime, but we're going to be talking all about food with Dan the Pigman, talking about barbecue of the South. Friday the 11th at 11. How about that? Friday the 11th at 11. That's easy to remember. Friday the 11th at 11. And then next week, I want to pay close attention to, there's 2 dates next week that I really want. Obviously, we want you on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But the speaker we have scheduled for Wednesday, guys, we want you who are on here to please share this. Now, they're going to get the email. But we want you to share this with your club president, and encourage lots of people to be on here a week from today to hear from Travis Mills. Travis Mills is a retired United States Army Staff Sergeant, and he's a recalibrated warrior. So, guys, we would not have gotten Travis if it wasn't for Zoom. So we want to show Travis a huge crowd, because he's going to be talking about never give up and never quit. So I look forward to each one of these episodes. But, guys, next Wednesday, let's have a huge crowd. Let's have a huge crowd. And then to wind down the year on Friday, it's our Christmas party. We want you to talk. We want you to come with your Christmas trivia. I'll ask that question of you in a second, Valerie. Well, we want you to come dressed in your Christmas attire with a knowledge of Christmas trivia and just have some good fun. So, Valerie, is there any particular way you would suggest funding the arts?
Well, obviously, all the arts really need support right now, and financial support is always welcome, but particularly now. I'm on the board of Charleston Stage, for example, and even in the wake of this pandemic, they've been able to raise $325,000 from donations. They're not able to be performing now. They're doing a lot of streaming and online stuff. But the unfortunate thing is that they've had to lay off like 2/3 of their staff, who are waiting to be rehired. And how those people are making a living, I don't know. Because the usual thing that arts people do is work in restaurants when they're laid off, and now that work isn't there either. I don't know how a whole segment of our population is surviving. So the best thing is just to keep supporting them. If you don't have money, cash, or even your emotional support will be helpful. Just calling and saying we're thinking of you will be helpful.
Well, Valerie, once again, thank you for joining us this morning. Appreciate your knowledge and your expertise on arts in the community. And those of you on the line, you just heard my announcements. Though I did leave one out, and I purposely did, and I wanted to say it last. Next Thursday, happy hour with the district on Zoom. District-wide happy hour, 5 to 6:30. Information on how you can log in is on DACDB. Folks, that's all for CWRAP today. We look forward to seeing you back on Friday the 11th at 11. Remember that, Friday the 11th at 11 for Dan Huntley, Dan the Pig Man, talking about barbecue in the South. I'll conclude with the Rotary 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Have a wonderful Wednesday, folks. Stay warm out there. See you on Friday the 11th at 11 for the next Conversations with Rotary Action People. Take care, folks. That's a wrap. Bye-bye.